recording to the cloud started. So welcome to our Product Management Meets IGEL Community session, the first session of this type and the first session of 2024. So welcome to our Product Management team presented by Mali, by Dennis van Dam, by Mirali Meridakis and Thomas Seidel. We might have Florian Strobel joining a little bit later on. But from there, I would say, Mali, if you want, just start, and the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Seb. For those who newly joined the IGEL community or we never met before, my name is Mohamed Ali Findik. I'm leading the product management since almost 3.5 years now at IGEL, covering 3 different product lines. I'm located in southern Germany. And let me pull up my slides that we can directly.
You have a great sweater, great hoodie.
Yes, look at it. I hope you see the right screen.
We see the pictures of your holidays, yes? Good looking man.
Thanks.
Presentation is there. Thank you, Mari.
Great. Okay. To set a little bit of the stage and the idea for today's session is giving an insight of the product strategy roadmap. So we're not going in each features. It's more giving you the impression of what projects are coming in 2024 and where is the focus of IGEL in terms of product strategy. That's the session for today. And as I said, to set the stage, I will give you a little bit marketing stuff. I hope I'm not boring you too much, but really to explain why we are doing what we are doing. So the first statement is coming from the Forrester. We can't hear that anymore. Everybody is telling us cloud first strategy for decades now, and now we're getting there finally. So what we understood from Forrester is that they predict the sales revenue based on enterprise software will be 75% in SaaS solutions, not on-prem anymore. And if you look on what Gartner is saying is, we finally have the ability to use VDI even for small and medium business companies who do not have the skills and the ability or not even the money to spend for a big IT team to run VDI. So these companies are welcoming the DaaS opportunities and the DaaS solutions provided from different vendors to use the benefit of VDI, including security benefits. And when you look what Microsoft is doing, especially in the DaaS environment, they already generate a revenue stream out of exceeding out of $1 billion per year. I'm sorry, out of the opportunity. Pardon? By creating services based on Azure Virtual Desktop and Windows 365. So it's all about we're getting there. And if you look on a survey which comes from Deloitte, they asked several companies why are companies moving into the cloud. The result is a little bit impressive because things which were the blockers for moving into the cloud became the drivers of it. So from a risk assessment for 5 years ago, or even a little bit more, the result was saying, no, we will not go into the in cloud offerings and move our apps and workloads into the cloud because of business risks. And this is exactly now the opposite way. So the companies are understanding that it's more risky to stay with something that they built by their own and not going into the cloud. And this is surrounded by by cost savings, even in the context of sustainability, that they understood it is more convenient to provide, and it's more scalable to provide VDI solutions based on something public, which can be reused. The resources can be used not just in a company, but across the globe. And this is also things why companies more and more moving their workloads into the cloud. So make sure that you have the right cloud strategy for the future, but in this context, don't forget your endpoint strategy. It's all about having the whole the big picture and making sure that your endpoint strategy does fit to your cloud strategy at all. So how does that happen? IGEL is providing a modern way to for the workspaces by reducing the cost in overall. But how is that happening? Because you need to look into 4 different pillars of ability to use the IGEL products. So one key aspect of that cost savings is coming down from the manageability, the central management of using UMS as the endpoint management system, managing all devices running IGEL. So there is no need for additional third-party solutions to combine for having the built-in manageability in IGEL with the ability to connect to a central endpoint management system. And there are much more, but I will go a little bit later on into the details. And let's look on the next point of how the user experiences is being increased in using the IGEL solution. So we're adding more and more unified communication solutions. So the feeling of the end user using unified communication solutions is like every other user experience. If you would use a fat client system, that's our aim. We want to provide the user experience of a fat client, but with a thin solution running the workload in the cloud. And this includes every use cases, independent of its VDI, DaaS, or SaaS use cases, by adding more and more applications to get the best user experience for the endpoint users. For my sustainability endpoint, of course, having a ability to work from anywhere, so the hybrid workforce will help to stay sustainability or even increase your sustainability goals. And you know that IGEL is consuming way less resources on endpoints, and this also will have the effect of being more in green IT. But the last point is really what is combining the strategy of IGEL. So we really realized that it's all about security, where we can provide with our solution the most secure solution we know about. And this has been covered by a new term. We've defined the preventative security model, which we will have a little bit more deep dive into. So what is it? What is the IGEL preventative security model? It's about the secure by design approach. That means everything we invented has been done in the context of asking ourselves, is that secure? And how can we even increase the security of that solution? And it's not about the old standard fashion way where you try to mitigate by monitoring, detecting, and remediating security issues. And if you look on the right side with me, you see some important key features of our IGEL solution, which makes it more secure than others. So we do not have any local data on the devices here in the context of the user. That's really all staying in the secured environments, if it's your data center or a private or a public cloud environments. So it's fenced in that, and will not never and you will never lose your data from there. And IGEL, particularly as a read-only operating system, can be will come back to the last known good state after each reboot. So you're coming back to a well-defined state without having without the need of investing more in that. Then the trusted application platform. So from the hardware trust of chain down to BIOS, secure boot, to the bootloader, the kernel, and the operating system, as well as the application running on top of the operating system, all are signed and covered with signatures to with certificates and a modification or altering that one of those components will lead the system and not booting or not running any application on it. Different authentications method we're constantly adding into, like single sign-on integration by using standard cloud identities from Entra ID, previously known as Active Directory, Okta, and any other big players in the market. We're constantly integrating them and certifying them to run with IGEL and the application on top of it. Data encryption. You can encrypt all partitions in IGEL with the possibility of making sure that nobody else besides yourself is accessing data, and even they're trying to just get encrypted data. And of course, with the modularization of the operating system with IGEL 12, the attack vector has been reduced significantly because you just deploy applications you need and reducing the attack surface at all. So what does that mean? We're eliminating additional software in comparison to other solutions on the market by having an antivirus or backup solution in place, or data loss prevention. Things like that is not necessary if you're using the IGEL solution. If you come back to the question, so what happens if I don't feel good because there was a ransomware attack in my company, and you want to make sure that your device is coming back into the last known good state? As I mentioned before, just do a reboot and we will get the system in the session before. But if you don't feel good at all after rebooting all these devices, you also have a further opportunity. Just utilize our onboarding service where somebody can onboard a new device which has been set to factory defaults, but just typing in your company credentials, and in minutes you will be back with exactly the same configuration on the endpoints, meaning the policies, which we call the profiles, are being deployed, and all applications are being installed. So really in minutes. I do not see anybody else on the market who have such a possibility to bring the devices back into business in minutes. The funny fact here is we never thought about this when we invented the onboarding service. It was much more about bringing non-technical skilled persons the ability to onboard devices, even if they buy the device somewhere in the market, and just unboxing it and run IGEL out of it. That was our intention to develop the onboarding service, but we realized it's adding much more than having easy onboarding. It's adding security into the whole portfolio. And we're so adding support of things like Zero Trust is really based on what I've talked before. As, if you use the onboarding service, you use the trust to an you are using the trust to an employee, which you to build a trust to the endpoints. So the employee of a company is authenticating itself, and then you are enrolling a device certificate, enrolling a device certificate to that device based on the authentication methods of the end user, and then you're building your trust to the device and could use zero trust out of that. So if we look onto the cost savings, which I talked before, so it's all about the manageability of the solution. So it's a fine-grained way, a secure way to manage all those thousands of devices from one pane of glass, and that's just based off our solution called the Universal Management Suite, and components running in the cloud to make it more easier to administer those devices like this, the onboarding service in combination with the simple user onboarding assistant on IGEL, running on IGEL. The fact that we are having a big ecosystem of technology partners being certified as IGEL ready and bringing their own applications into our app portal means you have a trusted source of applications running through our completely QA and security review process before we putting those applications onto our app portal. And we already talked about the modular design and a few updates needed by having this modularization in place, and the fact that all of these applications are assigned or countersigned at least from IGEL, and the ability to run native applications like, as I said, the unified communications nowadays natively from IGEL. This makes not only a cost reduction, but also increasing the business continuity. But in case if you're not able to connect to a remote Windows machine, you can run at least some of your business relevant applications like Office 365 applications or your unified communication application directly natively based on IGEL. And now you probably understand that the journey of going through VDI DaaS SaaS can be in the pace of yourself. And even if you want to roll back to a solution which you had back in the days, or using all of those solutions at the same time from the same endpoint, all is possible, and by using the IGEL ecosystem and the IGEL solutions. And this gives from an IT administrator perspective, this gives the user experience you're looking for. And if you want to compare that with the user experience, what the end user is getting out of the solution is really ability to run different workloads, meaning desktops and apps from anywhere, and adding application running locally on IGEL and on every hardware which is IGEL compatible, meaning mobile as well as stationary devices. And the benefit of the solution from IGEL is really, in compared to our competitors, that we also certify not just the hardware underneath, but also the complete peripheral ecosystem, like the headsets or printers or smart card solutions. So you have all from one hand at the end. And adding the same user experience that does also mean the same authentication methods, which you know from other solutions. So just as an example, but the integration of Improvata and with their tap and go solution helps to support use cases in the healthcare market, and so that you can run much more use cases with the IGEL solution. Yeah, we all know, or probably know, that IGEL is based on a Linux solution, meaning that no device bloat and no performance reduction just by adding more and more applications onto it. That's in comparison to other vendors, which I don't want to mention here in detail, but you all know what I mean. Okay, from a sustainability perspective, I don't want everybody knows that IGEL is running on lower performance endpoints because it's high in efficiency of utilizing the resources available, but not just the fact that we can run on a low performance endpoints, but from a completely different angle of reducing the sustainability waste by making sure that you can work from everywhere. That's all what pays into the IT goals overall from a company, but also from IGEL itself. So enough. Let's look on how we as IGEL want to make sure that all these strategy goals are being achieved in defining projects where our products being evolved over in 2024. So if we look into the topic of the preventative security model, we will add additional identity providers and access management solutions into IGEL, and that does not mean just adding further identity providers, but also making sure that applications who authenticate against that identity providers can be used, can be developed from an app developer perspective to integrate into the IGEL solution. Adding conditional and contextual access for making sure that access are only allowed from defined and secured endpoints. And from a company perspective, IGEL is going to be certified in an ISO certification in 27001. And this is really almost done. So we will see in the next couple of weeks that IGEL has been ISO certified company in that regard. So we also implemented secure software development lifecycle as a process for all products developed by IGEL, meaning that additional security reviews or code reviews or things like the enhancing and making static code analysis, all those pay into the fact of the preventative security model. The other big topic for 2024 is making sure that everybody is able to use UMS 12, OS 12, so the new product portfolio with adding more use cases. And how is that achieved? By creating more applications to be used on the endpoints. And we will go a little bit more in detail of what the IGEL Develop program is, but just as a note before that, it's all about creating apps for IGEL for everybody in the world. So we'll go in a little bit more talking about the IGEL Developer later on. Adding more use cases, of course, more apps, but in particular, adding additional features in the context of DaaS in Cloud PC. When we look into Windows 365, there will be things like hardware acceleration, the integrating of the Microsoft authentication library into it, which then supports, for instance, smart card authentication for an AVD session and biometric authentication methods. So all of that thing is coming with adding more features in the context of DaaS. Okay, then well, I will go for some of those points a little bit more in detail, but the last big topic for us is really the ability to use and consume our products in a very easy way. And we will talk about things like design consolidation and optimization for MSP providers or customers who want to be managed by an MSP to use our product. The fact that we will extend the cloud readiness of the UMS and a brand new designed customer eval journey. Again, as I said, we will go a little bit more in detail now, all of this. So let's start with the customer eval journey, the last mentioned one. The new customer eval journey. For those who played around with OS 12 or are using OS 12, it is hard to firstly play around with OS 12 because you have a bunch of prerequisites, including having a UMS being installed and then registering for the app portal, register UMS to get access to the app portal, and things like that needs to be done before you even can start the first evaluation of the operating system itself. So we now have a approach of defining a 3-phase model for the customer eval journey, making sure that people just want to play around with a Citrix or VMware or Microsoft environment, or even just a browser use case where you access a web application. Those can do that without without having a set of prerequisites like setting up a UMS. So that can be done just by downloading the OS 12, and then you will start thinking about, okay, now I want to understand how can I manage those endpoints, and then starting to play around with the UMS. That's the second phase of the 3-phase approach, and the third one is more and more using optional cloud services to evaluate the complete solution. So if you look into the 3 phases, it's all about phase 1, registering to get access to download IGEL, or even just buy a device preloaded with IGEL, and then start IGEL with your registered credentials. You can log into the IGEL and onboard the device, and you will get all the applications being deployed in a eval mode for 90 days on the device, and the applications are being pre-deployed by IGEL. And how is that happening? It is because behind the scenes we have running a UMS for those evaluation process and bring those applications automatically onto the devices. And then phase 2. Now you understand how IGEL OS is working, want to understand how you can centrally manage those, how flexible and how secure you can do that. Means that you can then start downloading the UMS, register the UMS, and then playing around with profiles and the app management. And this can be done completely separate. And phase 3 is additional onboarding, additional cloud service like the onboarding, by registering and bringing your own IDP into that into the play, and configure those in our environment, in our customer portal, and configuring single sign-on functionality, and then play around with the onboarding with your own identity providers. So that's all what we meant with the 3-phase approach of evaluating the IGEL portfolio. Wonderful. Now talking a little bit about history and then predictive features. As I said before, everybody knows IGEL is based on a Linux operating system, and we got some feedback in the past, so mentioning that IGEL looks like a Linux operating system. I think we have done a really good step forward in terms of coming with OS 12 onto the market with a new approach of the user interfaces and applications like the tray applications. On the other hand, we have different products with a completely different design and look and feel and user experience and how things are working. And this is also true for our cloud services. They do have their own design and slightly work different than the other products. And we started to define a new project called Unified Design System. What does that mean? It means one design system for all products, cross products lines, including the OMS, including the operating system, including cloud services like the app portal. So, and it's not just a design guide for the development of those products, but it's also really a library which we create and can be reused across all the products. So that's how the future will look like. On the left side, you'll see how how IGEL will see in a modern way, can be seen in a modern way, how the changes will being done in the UMS section, and probably you have played around with the latest versions already and can see the big change on the UMS side, but also coming with the next version of the app portal, also consolidated and based on the same UI components across those products. On the identity and access management, so we will come back with the single sign-on to all services and products and add additional ones. So as an example, the UMS will also be able to utilize OpenID Connect protocols. So you can log into the UMS with your cloud identity, and that will be true for the cloud services and every service at the end, which IGEL provides. So we are doing that by utilizing standards like OAuth 2.0 or OpenID Connect, but also creating interfaces for app developers who then can create applications utilizing the single sign-on functionality of IGEL. And this is meant by the last bullet point. So well-defined interfaces for technology partners to integrate with. That's all in the context of the project of identity and access management. If you look into the extension of what I already mentioned, a lot of them in the overview. So Cloud PC 2.0, that's just the term I'm defining as the next generation of DaaS and Cloud PC. With our strong partnership with Microsoft, we're adding more and more things which increases the usability, the user experience of the end user, like the hardware acceleration is the next big step. Or from a license perspective, we're adding the frontline support where shift workers can use the same cloud PC across their colleagues. And we will be the first out of Microsoft itself that will provide support for Teams VDI 2.0 in Windows 365 support from IGEL. Now, my personal favorite, I have to admit, it's the develop program of all of the projects, the ability to build IGEL's applications for everybody in the world. This program you can register for and sign for. Gives you the ability. It's a cloud service at the end. It's a portal, which we call the develop portal, where you can upload binaries. So you can use Debian packages, for example, to convert them into IGEL packages. So the IPKG packages, if you're familiar with that term, IGEL packages, which can be deployed to the endpoint. And what's needed beside the binary itself, it is a recipe. The recipe is covering all metadata information of the applications, including the description, the name, the versioning, and things like that. But also the user interface to configure those applications centrally. So that interface which hooks into the UMS, if you import an application or deploy an application onto IGEL and starting the setup dialog, you will see the ability to configure those applications, and exactly those user interfaces are part of that recipe and needs to be provided to the developer portal, and then it's just really a click-through process. Log into the developer portal, provide the binaries, provide the recipes. You can use recipes publicly available on GitHub later on when we go live with that project, and then click on create, and you will get a signed application with your dedicated certificate, which we create on the registration process to the developer program. And this can be used for everybody, as I said, of course, for our IGEL Ready partners, our technology partners, but for customers who want to create their own applications, but of course, for all of you in the IGEL community. And the IGEL community here is, I want to especially mention and thank for the support you are already done in the context of the legacy way to customize the iOS 11 or the custom partitions. And this will be replacement for the custom partitions in a much secure way, because it's all based on certificate signing of the applications and the partitions behind that. Isn't that cool? I think so. I'm sorry. Why is that?
Yeah,
so
I'll have the GitHub set up for the recipes like I did for custom partitions. So when we're ready to go for that, we'll have it there. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks, Ron, for mentioning that. And why is that important that we get more and more applications? And I'm not just talking about 10, 30, 50 of that, so really hundreds of applications, because we are supporting more use cases. And we really envision that more use cases will come across where SaaS is being the focus on, meaning either it is web-based applications, just utilizing a browser, including our new partnership with Island.io as an enterprise browser, but really web applications out of running of different browsers we provide for IGEL, but also mentioned before, business continuity, making sure that daily business can be done even if you're not able to connect to your VDI or DAS solutions. Make sure that you just do a fallback to the unified communication solutions and every other SaaS application running natively on IGEL, and with the ability of integrating progressive web apps like the MS Teams version now available in the app portal. I'm not talking about 2.0. I mean what is already available, but adding more functionality into the operating system by utilizing native applications. That's all we see, and it's coming more. And some of them are using IGEL as a digital signage, where just a big screen is showing the menu of fast food restaurants, but also self-created applications out of progressive web apps for those customers. Last but not least, the project of bringing cloud readiness into the UMS 12. I mentioned the single sign-on functionality, and this really fills the gap. If you could look into our complete product portfolio, where you can use already single sign-on functionality, it will be the next what UMS 12 is working on. But the main idea, if we're talking to cloud readiness, is to make sure that you just have one-click deployments of the UMS 12 in different cloud stacks like Azure, Google Cloud Platform, and AWS. And this we will make sure by qualifying them on IGEL, including cloud components like cloud databases running as the persistence layer of UMS 12. And at the end, UMS 12 will be available in the marketplaces. So just click on, I want to set up a UMS 12 in that environment, and you will get, based on some questions, we will ask you in a wizard, like how many devices you want to manage approximately. You will get guidance from us and automatically spinning up a UMS 12 instance based on your answers. Some of you might heard about our MSP program, which was started in the beginning of this year. And this leads into demands and feature requests into our products, where we, as I mentioned before, increase the way how we deploy the UMS, but also things like reporting, where the MSP can use the reporting system based on the UMS and our license portal, the ILP, to get not just an understanding of what they utilized from a license perspective, but also understanding how many of their tenants are using what kind of licenses and how many of those. And at the end, it will come up with increasing the manageability in our products for especially for the MSP use cases. So to sum up, the journey for 2024, it's all about easier deploying, and this is including the operating system itself, but for sure the UMS, the easier consume with all our cloud services, and by consolidating the design system behind and the workflows behind, and then easier to use to make sure that you get out the most value out of our solutions. With that said, I want to thank you for your attention and thank you for your time joining this presentation. And now we're open for a Q&A session.
Thank you, Marty and team. We already covered most of them, I guess. If I'm looking at the chat, there was a huge discussion about a couple of topics. But from the question piece, I would say we are mostly done. Guys, if I'm missing something that you asked and I didn't see it, just unmute yourself if you like, or just repost it in the chat. But it seems like we are doing well. One thing that we saw in your presentation, Marty, is it correct? The floating desktop approach would be the approach that we'll follow on OS 12 on the modern design. Is it safe now?
Oh, that's a question. I think that was a healthy discussion. I know.
Okay.
But I think that is a question to be answered by Christian Van, which is unfortunately not here today.
Oh,
so,
good.
Yeah.
Okay, now we just saw the screenshot, and as we had a survey starting the IGEL Community exactly on that topic, that's why I was asking. But there is a question from Milan coming in the chat. Will Microsoft add Linux Chromium for supported FIDO2 usage? Did you hear something about this?
We will add FIDO2 support in the context of the integration of the Microsoft authentication library, but I'm not pretty sure if I get that in the context of Chromium.
It's more the question if Microsoft will add this to specific operating system and browser to their supported approach of FIDO2 usage. Milan, if I misunderstood you, just text me, but that's how I understood it. Do we have a contact with Microsoft to push that in any way?
Yeah, of course, we are working really closely together with all the different product management sitting in Microsoft, and even we send out the regular based developers doing workshops with them. So for sure, we can make sure that this gets priority. Yeah.
So if I can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, so the question, yeah, exactly as Seb stated, is Microsoft supported Matrix. It doesn't include Chromium on Linux platform for FIDO2 usability. So they only support the official Google Chrome browser. And for us, I know it's been a bit of a struggle trying to get the IDP solution with FIDO2 into a supported flow, because Microsoft doesn't support the current availability of browsers in the IGEL OS. We don't, going to an IDP in an unsupported flow, it seems unwise.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that adding the MSAL library into or integrated into our solution will give you the more flexibility. And I know that FIDO2 support is included in that MCET library. But at the end,
the
I think
supportability. So I think when we talk, a lot of the slide deck was about SaaS and going to that platform. But as a customer, I think often we're in the scope of having to be in support for SaaS solutions. And because as the solutions move forward, if you're not in a supported flow, how do you? What's your fallback? Because SaaS technologies end up moving forward with or without you. Back-end components get upgraded, and if your solution isn't considered in support scope, then how do you get support?
Okay, yeah, got it.
I can list the link to the Microsoft.
Yeah, that would be really great. I think I would love to discuss that with my team and come back to you. Thank you, Milan.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, team, is there something that you would like to discuss with our product management? I mean, during having you posting something in the chat or muting yourself, just be aware that we will do the session once a quarter. So you don't have to wait until the next session. If you have a question for our product management, I would be happy to take it over and discuss it with the team as we are in regular touch with them. But just in case, if something is in your mind or if a colleague of you couldn't join, we will continue the next session. Let me just check the calendar. In the meantime, if someone wants to unmute himself to ask a question, please do so. But the next session will be in June on the 27th, same time, again on Thursday, and we will be happy to welcome the same product management team again. Something else, team, that you would like to ask? There was a feedback from Sven. Yeah, good feedback. The new boot animation from the freshly released base OS 12 came up, and he really likes it.
Cool. Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah, welcome.
Always good to not get only bad feedback, but also positive feedback.
Sven is always an early adopter of our software.
Yeah,
Great.
sorry for that.
No,
That's
we're
perfect.
more than thankful for this.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeff, we'll come back to your question on wine in a separate thread because that might kill the session. But for the moment, I would say thank you very much, Mali and team, for being there, answering questions, and also sharing new insights about the product. I learned a lot of things either, and I'm really looking forward for the next session. I will share the recording as usual. I wish you all a pleasant rest of your day, a wonderful evening for those who are in EMEA, and see you soon.
Thank you for having us here. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.